Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and welcome back to Hanging with Mangg for the 108th time, I guess. And we're not going to stop any time in the future. Well, that's not true. Sometime in the future, there will be a stop. Probably because I am dead or insane or I don't know. Something will happen. Regardless, we are playing Sunless Sea today. The expansion somewhat recently, I think, came out. Fairly recently. Submariner, which I did purchase, but I've not really played the game enough to actually get a submarine, as they call it. Sunless Sea is a game with just a fantastic setting and theme. Really great. And yet, I don't know. I feel like the mechanics could be improved a little bit. Like Sunless Sea 2, maybe, could be really awesome. I like the overall look of the game. I like so many things about the game, but I feel like a lot of gameplay elements they borrowed from Fallen London, the kind of online Neopets-esque type game, I guess. I don't know if there's a word for that. This kind of whole system of I don't even know how to describe it, but like you need like certain tokens, I guess, that represent all sorts of different things, and these tokens unlock parts of the story and different elements like that. And I don't know, a lot of mechanics aren't that great, but overall the theme is so damn good, I guess. Regardless, we're not here to talk about the Sunless Sea. We're here to talk about everything else. So, this week on the channel, on Mangg's LPs, I finished up 2 games in 1 week. I finished up both Deus Ex Mankind Divided and the Minish Cap, so that was pretty good. Minish Cap had a very promising start, very exciting start. Somewhat average or so middle, and then really kind of just threw it all away right at the end. So that's kind of typical Zelda stuff, I guess. So with that, this next week we're going to be starting Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Ziggy, who also owned Wind Waker HD, he also owns Twilight Princess HD, because he is a big Zelda fan for some reason. I don't know why anybody would be a Zelda fan, but here you have it. But they are. And so he owns Twilight Princess HD, and he's going to let me borrow it so I can play that. He also has the guide for it, which he offered to borrow me, but I don't know. I just have the internet, so I don't really need that. Anyways. So yeah, that should be something interesting. I don't know. I'm not super excited about it. I did play Twilight Princess when it came out for like an hour or something, and I thought at the time I thought it looked pretty good. I mean, visually it was very different than Wind Waker visually, but I don't know. I remember having it like I remember it having like a long intro that I didn't care for. Like every Zelda game, Well, a lot of the recent Zelda games, they just kind of handhold for a bit too much, and I don't know. Regardless. So we'll start that. I also started The Evil Within this week as my token horror game of October, which, yeah, it's interesting. It's Resident Evil-esque, I guess, and kind of stealthy, but also kind of killing things. It's interesting. It's, I guess, a bit scarier than like Resident Evil 4 or 5 or 6, but we'll see how that goes. And I also did Saturday, I did a live stream of horror VR games. Now, I, for one, am not disappointed with the contents of that stream. I'm sure some people will be disappointed because they wanted me to just be absolutely freaked out, just like shaking on the floor, pissing myself, stuff like that. Which, very well is what could have happened. If I had picked appropriate games and everything had gone that direction, yes, it could have been terrible. But, I mean, I don't want to... Well, I guess I already kind of spoiled it. The first thing that I played was The Visitor, which was like a 5-minute or so experience. It felt like it was pretty quick. And that was definitely spooky. I was definitely a little spooked out by that whole experience, so I was nervous about what was to come after that. But I put on a bold face, and we moved on to Chair in a Room, Greenwater. Which, yeah, I was, that was supposed to be like the big epic horror game that was like 3 hours long, and really kind of a polished experience, but I mean, we played it for like an hour and a half or something like that, and it seemed almost a lot more like a puzzle game than a horror game. I mean, there were some spooky moments, but nothing of my hour and a half with Chair in a Room, I think, spooked me as much as The Visitor, which I thought was really surprising. But I got frustrated a couple times by just being completely stuck on a puzzle, and then at the end, like, it glitched out and I had to like redo something, and I didn't want to redo it, and so I just kind of, I had a headache at that point because it was like, oh, well, whatever. So yeah, and then I played the Brookhaven experiment demo, which really isn't that scary, but I needed to do something. So yeah, I'm sure some people will be disappointed because I kind of talked it up, but I'm really not disappointed. I don't want anything to do with horror VR games. After The Visitor, you know, I realized that this could really fuck some people up. It's not good. It's not a good thing. It's terrible. But I'm sure some maniacs will love it. Regardless, that is what it is. Okay, let me just... So yeah, there's that if you want to check that out. So the coming week we'll be doing more of The Evil Within. I don't know if I'm going to finish the game by the end of October. In fact, I doubt it. So we're just going to go as far as we get. I don't know if it'll... I doubt it'll bleed into November, because the end of October we have Dark Souls 3 DLC, which I'm very much looking forward to. And we have... oh man, there's one other thing that comes out at the same day as the Dark Souls 3 DLC that I was like, oh, I could do a Let's Play that. In fact, I'm gonna just look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm a madman. Let's see. No, that can't be it, can it? Oh, World of Final Fantasy. That's it. World of Final Fantasy, yes. Which I am more interested in World of Final Fantasy than I am about Final Fantasy 15. So... I'm not sure what I want to do with that game. I might do a Let's Play. I'm generally pretty wary of doing Let's Plays of RPGs. But World of Final Fantasy is pretty interesting, and we're going to have a bunch of free time due to lack of other LPs, except for Dark Souls 3 DLC, so I don't know. I'll put it up to you guys if you want to see it. I mean, I guess I don't have to really ask that, because I don't think I've ever had really anybody say, no, don't play that game. It's just kind of like, you know, if I put up a video, somebody will watch it. So it's really kind of up to me if I want to do a Let's Play of World of Final Fantasy, or if I want to just play it by myself. I don't know. I don't know. I might have to look over all the November releases, because I don't want to be... shit. If there's something else... really, if there's anything in November that I want to Let's Play, I might not do the World of Final Fantasy, because I don't want to be tied up in... I mean, the Dark Souls 3 DLC I guess won't take that long, but... I don't like to be tied up in too lengthy LPs between the Zelda game and World of Final Fantasy. That could be cumbersome. We'll see. Either way, I'm going to get it, but... anyways. So that's pretty much what's going to happen next week. Is Evil Within, starting Zelda, and kind of just waiting for Dark Souls 3 DLC. Yeah, on the Exploring series, you know, I was going to say it was kind of a slowish week, but that's really kind of... pompous of me to say, considering, you know, I compare the slow days to like the crazy insane days that are just way out of the norm, but really I should compare the slow days to my normal days from a few weeks ago, in which case they're like, a few weeks ago I would have been very happy if I got like 20 some subscribers on a day. And, you know, on my slowish days nowadays, I break 100 easily. So, there's a big difference between my normal days nowadays. But, at times, I'm very much just kind of at the liberty of YouTube's algorithms. You know, like it pretty much solely depends on if YouTube's algorithms decide to recommend my videos to various people, or put them on the homepage or stuff like that. Because if they're not doing any of that, you know, it's a bit of a slower day. Whereas if they do start doing that, I don't know how they decide this, how it all works. I have no idea. But then suddenly my views per hour just rocket up for a little while, so those are good times. But yeah, I definitely cannot complain about how it's going. I over the weekend and a bit of last week, I was working on the Jack the Ripper video, which took me a little bit of time. I basically had to, you know, before I started researching that subject, I knew that he killed officially 5 people. It was in the 1800s, and they never caught him. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge of Jack the Ripper. Not to say that now I'm like an expert on Jack. I could write a book on Jack the Ripper. I mean, I didn't do that much research, but I think I could hold a conversation about Jack the Ripper. I could, off the top of my head now, I could educate people about Jack the Ripper in a limited sense. So that's pretty cool. Pretty crazy stuff, I gotta tell you. I think it's grislier than I thought it was. I mean, I guess I never really thought about it. It was just, you know, he was a serial killer in the 1800s. They never caught him, and he killed he killed like 5 people, maybe more, but officially 5 people, and compared to serial killers since then, you know, that's somewhat tame, I guess. I mean, it's not good. But we've had serial killers and we've had terrorist attacks and things like that have killed way more than 5 people. But really, any serial killing is not a pleasant thing to read about and discuss. I mean, this guy was slicing throats and ripping out intestines and pulling out organs, and especially his last official victim, Mary Jane Kelly. Man, that he did some work on her. Man, oh man, I was a little squeamish as I was writing about it, because they also have a picture, and I thought about. I mean, I put the picture in the video, of course. How could I not? It's a well-known picture, I guess, as far as serial killings go. And so I thought about at the beginning of the video putting like a warning, like a disclaimer or something that some viewers might find some content disturbing, because I also talk about the wounds that this woman sustained. I decided against the disclaimer because it was just not really in the format of my videos, but and really only the 5th victim in the picture kind of, I think, is perhaps would ick some people out. But yeah, man, crazy stuff. Really crazy stuff. And so, you know, I titled the video Exploring History because I mean, there's going to be more exploring history videos, so I kind of want to bundle it together in a theme, much like I do Middle-earth or Cthulhu Mythos or Star Wars or Warcraft. You know, I want it to be exploring history. And I'm going to do a video on Halloween, and I'm going to do a video in the future, maybe next October. I'm going to cover H.H. Holmes or I don't know, Dahmer or Gacy or Gein or the Jonestown Massacre. You know, there's a lot of I mean, I'm gonna save all these kind of things for Halloween video or October videos because it's kind of the time to do it. But I'm wondering now in the future, apart from October stuff, if there's room and interest. I mean, I'm going to gauge a lot on this to see how it goes over. But I'm going to see how people are interested in kind of historical stuff rather than just fictional stuff. You know, if if people like my style and they like how I cover things and explain things, if they would be interested in stuff that isn't fantastical and magical and alien and you know, stuff like that, they would be interested in stuff that might be covered in a classroom, you know, in high school or something like that, but in my style. I don't know what specifically I would go into, and I was used to never really be into history or anything like that, and, you know, Jack the Ripper, I guess, is kind of a unique part of history, modern history. But, ooh, nice. So yeah, you never know. I mean, there's some interesting parts of his, like, interesting to even the layman, you know. Interesting to people that don't really even care about history. There's some interesting stuff throughout history. So you never know. I might cover stuff. Who knows? But we'll see how the Jack the Ripper video goes over, and if that is a success. Okay, just give me a second to think. Okay. Do that, do this. Okay. And then I need 200 for that, so I need 5 more, which is 105. That should be fine. Okay. Yeah. So, so I'm excited about showing off the Jack the Ripper video for a few different reasons. But, you know, I've been telling various people, my friends and family, about Jack the Ripper over the weekend. It makes for great brunch conversation. Like, oh yeah, I mean, he cut this girl's throat down to the spine and shit, and cut off her breasts. It was crazy. You know, it's just, but you know, that's kind of, you know, the Exploring series is just as much, I guess, educational for me as it is for viewers. You know, I'm learning. I guess I learn even more than the viewers do, because I don't put everything in the video, not nearly. So I guess I'm learning even more than people that watch it. So, which is cool. I love learning. Learning's great. Which is so. I mean, if my 15-year-old self would have heard me say that, oh man, that would be pretty startling. So yeah, Jack the Ripper video. You can see that tomorrow. And then next Monday, we'll be covering Morgoth in Middle-earth. So that has been an awaited video, I'm sure. Yeah, so it's all good. It's all good. All right. Let's see. Monday game night. What did we play? We played Cry Havoc. We played Cry Havoc again, which I was very excited about. Because I wanted to play it the actual official way with deck building and all that. So I was very interested in playing it. And we all kept our same faction. So we all kind of played pretty much the same kind of thing, but we played with the addition of knowledge from the first game as well as the deck building aspect. And so we set forth, and my strategy... My strategy is pretty similar to my first playthrough. I was playing as the blue faction, the kind of odd faction. From what I understand now from reading, basically I guess it's like they wanted to put in a faction in the game that appealed to like the Euro gamer, that like didn't want to go out and really do all these battles and things like that. Just kind of wanted to build up resources and stuff, and that's the blue faction, more or less. And so basically the blue faction wants to turtle as much as possible and just kind of sit there and bunker up and just keep building up a crystal supply until they have this just massive turn and they win the game. Which is a great thought, really nice idea, but the board is so cramped and there's no inaccessible area. Like, I thought I was in one. I thought I got into a corner and I could just bunker up there, but there's no corners because the map basically loops around itself. You know, like kind of a like Super Mario Brothers 2 or something like that, where you run off one edge and you come back around the other side, you know, something like that. So there's no corners. You can never really turtle up. So you have to set up this very precarious situation where you can kind of cover all your grounds, 3 different areas, and you need to hold them for the whole game, because you're building up those 3 areas with resources, and if somebody else knocks you out and pushes you out of there, you know, it's their resources then, and that's not good for you. So, needless to say, I didn't win. The Trog player, once again, was just too triumphant. The Trogs are just too ubiquitous. They're all across the map almost immediately, and they're encouraged to kind of just throw themselves into battle, because if they die, they get more units. They get their units back, and then they basically just pop up elsewhere, like, immediately, and, you know, they get half crystal credit, so they basically get half victory points as everybody else, but if they ended up scoring the round, they get points for all the regions they control, which is going to be more than everybody else. So the first round, Trog player sets up scoring, they're all across the entire board immediately. There's not a damn thing we could really do about it, because they just have so many more units than we do. Funnily enough, people online don't seem to be complaining about Trogs that much, except for like the first game. And that's only in 4-player games, because Trogs only appear in 4-player games. So, I'm sure we'll, if we keep playing it, which we will get a hang of it. But for now, yeah, Trogs reign supreme. But I was pretty close. I was like 6 points behind him or something like that. Great game. Great game, that Cry Havoc. Oh, nice. We're just kind of clicking through. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Just a second. Just a second. Okay. Okay. Thursday. Let's talk about D&D, shall we? Thursday was the beginning of our D&D campaign, 4th edition, with Ziggy DMing, called Onward and Upward, because we are underground at the bottom of the 9th Kingdom. And I was playing as Old Man Ovum, as I've talked about. They were playing as a Goliath Barbarian and a Bullywug Ranger. I didn't really approve of the Bullywug much, but there's not much I can say. I've played a Bullywug. I've played a Bullywug twice, so I guess I can't really say that much. If that's what he wants to play, then that's what he gets to play. You should never say, like, no, you can't play that unless you're DMing and you have setting restrictions or something like that. Anyways, so we began with this kind of public address to the town, the little hamlet or whatever in the village at the bottom of the Ninth Kingdom. And apparently in the village, in the town, there's this thing called the lamp. And the lamp provides light for the entire town. And it's powered, well, we don't know how it's powered, but it's kept on by this ritual done by this guy known as the Light Warden. And he does this ritual once a week, and it's important because it keeps the light on, which is pretty handy when you're in a cave. And the message to the town was that the Light Warden has gone missing. He has disappeared. And so, of course, you know, the guards in the town were doing everything they could, but they also asked for volunteers to help with the search. Fine. Of course, we get roped into that, even though Old Man Ovum doesn't really want to do this. At first, you know, it's just kind of investigating around town and stuff like that, and he figures, okay, you know, his experience, his wisdom, he can lend some eyes and ears, and his brain. And so that began an investigation around town, which, yeah, pretty much Ovum solved, if I'm going to be honest. He basically figured out that this Light Warden was apparently shot with a crossbow bolt through a window at night in a very impressive shot. And he was likely poisoned or tranquilized in some aspect, due to some chemical, and he was presumably carried off. I don't want to go south. What am I doing? Or north. I don't know where I'm trying to get to. I think I just need to go all the way along this whole area. So we solved we half solved the investigation. We basically figured out that they took this guy to some old manor on the outskirts of town, like way out there, and so they wanted to mount this expedition to recover him, get him back. Which, of course, includes our little merry band of people. So it's basically the three of us, plus the captain of the guard, to recover this Light Warden. Great. This is where Ovum was really, like, you know, hesitant, to say the least. Because like I've all explained about Old Man Ovum, you know, he's basically kind of resigned himself to failure, in a sense, you know. I would say that he thinks he could be killed. Like, if somebody were to shove a sword through him, you would die, all right? But as far as just passivity, like if he probably thinks he will not die of old age. I would say Old Man Ovum thinks. Like he has been kind of punished with that until he redeems himself. Which is all fine and dandy. You know, young man Ovum, given that kind of challenge and that thought, would rush out into the world non-stop until he felt he redeemed himself. But Old Man Ovum at this point, he's probably felt that for a while now. And he feels, you know, if he's not redeemed himself now, what are the odds that this old man with his old bones, he can't even hold his greatsword anymore? You know, what are the odds that he's going to redeem himself? So he kind of just resigned himself to just mushroom picking and just living, you know, for however long, and that's pretty much all she wrote for Old Man Ovum. But, you know, when he started doing this investigation, he started looking into these things, and he started being basically an adventurer again a little bit. This little spark started to grow back inside of him again, which is ultimately what convinced him to go along and try and recover this Light Warden. Because this little spark that started growing in him, which of course is going to continue to grow and grow as he continues adventuring. So that's the story for Old Man Ovum and why he decided to go. Now the others decided to go just because, well, it's an adventure, which is, again, I can't be too critical. But I like to, you know, at this point in my RPG career, I like to put a little bit more thought into it. So we set out walking, which for Old Man Ovum was a little bit effort. He doesn't have the same stamina as he used to. But his faith kept him going. And a little ways after, we started hiking out into the wilderness. We didn't really encounter any creatures or anything, so that's good. In fact, we went the whole session without a fight, which is quite impressive for 4th edition. But eventually we encountered this great chasm, this like abyssal gorge in this cave that pretty much stretched like 400 feet across. Quite impressive indeed. And so we really encountered the first problem. Now, of course, I've said that I love problem solving. I'm all about it. Oh, want to avoid that. But there were a couple issues with this problem. One is that Ovum is not built completely like a problem solver. I went through some extents to help him out, but he's not Artemis. Which I guess kind of sums up the whole character. He's not Artemis. I might have to just head straight back to port. Which would be a bummer. I mean, there's that ship there. I'm looking for the Salt Lions. If anybody has played and knows what I'm talking about. Alright, we'll just head back. So one is Ovum's not really built completely like a problem solver. Two, it's a 400-foot chasm at level 1. Now we're not just thrown into a 400-foot chasm and, hey, figure it out. We are given one helpful thing. One thing that is meant to assist us. And that is a rickety, very old, rotten wooden rope bridge. That is the setting. That is the scene. So, with the three of us, 400-foot chasm, rotted old bridge. Solve it. I could... Well, really, there's only one way to solve it. It wasn't really a tremendous problem, I guess, because there was only one way to solve it. And that was get a rope to the other side, a really long rope, hook it up to both sides, and, you know, shimmy your way across. So really the only thing is the method in which you get the rope across. Which is pretty much two different ways. One is you use the bridge, have someone walk across it with the rope, and then you just use the rope. Which is a very simple, I'll admit, lame way to solve the puzzle. The second way is to use some sort of magic. Use some sort of supernatural way to get the rope to the other side. I could have done this. I could have just summoned a flying angel to carry the rope across, and there you have it. This will probably blow some people's minds. People that are new to RPGs or something like that. This will blow people's minds, but I didn't want to use a power specifically for role-playing reasons. I didn't want people to know that I can just summon an angel at will. Which I think some people could just not understand. It's like, you could solve this puzzle by using a power. Why don't you just use it? It's like, no, I don't know. I'm trying to be in character, and he wouldn't do that. Not only because he doesn't want people to know about it, but he also would think it's very disrespectful to his god to summon an angel just to carry a rope across a chasm. Like, that's not good. So I ruled that out, and I wasn't doing it. Only in an emergency, like if somebody fell, I would probably do it. To save a life, that's a bit more honorable than carrying a rope across. Anyways, so we needed somebody to walk across the bridge, right? And Ovum decided that he would walk across the bridge. So he just walks across the bridge. Like, he figures either he'll die on a quest, which is how he intends to die, or his faith will secure him, and Artemis will prevent the bridge from collapsing. And the bridge does not collapse. And all is well. Except that Ovum did not carry the rope across. Because that was the whole goal, was to carry the rope across. We had already kind of decided this. We'll carry the rope across, and then the rest of us will be able to just climb across without using the bridge. Ovum just ignored that and left. He just went across the bridge. Then the captain of the guard decided, oh, I'll go next. And he just walks across the bridge and does not carry the rope. This is a real problem at this point, because the bridge is in pretty bad condition. So then the Bullywug decides to run across, and basically the bridge collapses, and he narrowly avoids death. And now the bridge is broken, and we don't have a rope across, and we're left with very little things, because they... Basically, I took my rope with me across the bridge, and so between our two groups, between all of us, we had enough rope to 400 feet of rope. But neither one of our two groups had enough rope. So we were really up shit creek unless I summoned an angel. And I wasn't doing it. I didn't care. We'll figure something out. I don't care. But truth be told, I was actually stumped. If I didn't summon the angel, I had no idea what to do about this. And so they decided, they came up with this plan that we both have grappling hooks, and between us we have enough rope, so we'll just throw our ropes and grappling hooks across the chasm and hope that they hook onto each other, and then we'll be able to climb across. This seems so ridiculous to me, I couldn't even fathom it, and I was like, I was against it. realistically, I don't know how many tries this would take. This would take so many tries, it would be insane. We got it on the first try because he rolled a crit. Now, personally, I would think you'd need, like, 2 crits. Like, you would both have to roll a crit in order for this to work. It's just so ridiculous. We can't even, like, see. We can't even see. I don't know how this would be possible. But Ziggy really loves crits, so 1 crit did it, and they hooked the grappling hooks first try, and were able to do it. I still was not pleased with the result. Just because it seems so... I mean, I like crits, but that just seems so ridiculous to me. But, I mean, it's not like that would have been just the end of the campaign if we hadn't gotten that. There would have been some way across at some point. Ziggy wouldn't do that. But, yeah, that was kind of ridiculous. But okay, I guess it worked. We solved the problem. I can't be too upset about it. So they climb across. We move forward. And we come across this kind of, basically a pond of magma. Or lava. It's magma when it's not exposed to air. It's lava afterwards, right? So if we're seeing it, it's got to be lava, not magma, right? I don't know. Exploring magma. I don't know. And we encounter basically this 2-story house. And it's got an open window, and so I tell the bullywug, who's the stealthy guy in our group, to go in there, check out the building, see what's going on. He finds on the first floor a group of Durger, I think they're called. Durger? I don't know how it's pronounced. Durger, we'll say. They're basically like demonic dwarves. They're like fire demon dwarves. They're dwarves that have been like corrupted by a demon and they worship a demon, but they're like on fire-ish. They're not actually, maybe they're not on fire. I don't know. They're evil dwarves. Let's just put it that way. Which, if you don't know, in Lord of the Rings, in Tolkien's works, he actually, in his earliest writings, he intended all dwarves to be evil. Like they were like servants of evil. It's crazy. He changed all that. Anyways. Where the hell are the salt lions, bro? And then on the second floor, behind a locked door, there's the Light Warden, I think. I'm pretty sure it's the Light Warden. I couldn't verify, I was not there, but I'm pretty sure it's the Light Warden. So, yet again, we have another problem. We have 4 Durger, which are basically they out-level us. Each of them out-level us. And we have this lava pond, a 2-story house. What do we do? That in itself, I could solve. I could solve that problem. It'd be great. Except, of course, the bullywug fucked up. Fucked up big time. When he left the second story, he forgot to grab the grappling hook. And so they noticed the grappling hook, and they saw us, and the session ended with us kind of being in plain sight and the Durger like rushing out of the building to try and kill us. So that's nice. So now we're basically going to be in a fight with the Durger who out-level us, so we're going to have to do something tricky. We have the magma pond, and I think we all kind of know that we're going to try to push them all in there and pull them in there to kill them. But I think we very easily could ourselves be pushed and pulled in there, so it could be risky. Somebody could die. You never know. I still probably don't want to summon the angel if I don't have to. Partly because I don't want to show them I can summon an angel. Partly because it's a daily and I don't. There could be something else bigger than the Durger to fight, but we'll see. But yeah, for a first session, it was decent. I like playing as Old Man Ovum. He's kind of Gandalf-esque. I quoted Gandalf a few times. It's just crazy. This is really, I guess, the first time I've contrasted the same characters so much between young Ovum and old Ovum. Like, they're so different. It's really kind of interesting playing around with a character like that. I guess I kind of did that with Artemis when I first started playing as him, as just kind of this young criminal, and then the Artemis that he became, the kind of godly figure. I guess that's similar. It's kind of a big change as well. But yeah, it was cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. We might actually, tomorrow night, because of some stupid football game on Thursday, we might switch out board game night for D&D night tomorrow. I would say it's fairly likely. So as of right now, I would say expect there to be another stream tomorrow night of D&D, which is always good. I mean, I love board games, but a good Ziggy campaign, you can't beat that, so that should be good. Yeah, I guess that about wraps us up. Yes. Alright, so check out the Jack the Ripper video tomorrow. Pretty interesting stuff. More Evil Within, Twilight Princess HD, D&D, all the good kind of stuff. But my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.